Just as Pharaoh was to Mūsā, Moses, he was the Pharaoh to our beloved Prophet Muhammad, ﷺ. This man, a symbol of arrogance and cruelty, vowed to destroy Islam and its prophet using his power, family, and wealth. He was one of the most influential figures in Mecca, yet he would be remembered as the father of ignorance. His story is not just about one man. It is a battle between truth and falsehood. Why did Abu Jahl fight so hard? Was he truly unaware? His defeat at Badr and his arrogance that lasted until his final breath, the painful end of the pharaoh of this ummah, Abu Jahl, will surprise you. Now before you lies the untold story of Abu Jahl, with details that most people do not know. Subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss these powerful Islamic videos. The rise of Abu Jahl, whose real name was Amr ibn Hisham ibn al-Mughira, belonged to the Makhzum tribe, one of the most powerful clans of Mecca. The Makhzum tribe was among the most respected branches of Quraysh, known for its leadership in defense of Mecca. Because of this, Abu Jahl was raised with leadership qualities from childhood. Though his exact birth year is unknown, it is estimated that he was a few years older than Hazrat Muhammad, ﷺ. His family was among the wealthiest in Mecca. His father, Hisham ibn al-Mughira, was a powerful leader in Quraysh and a successful merchant. He controlled trade caravans that traveled across the Arabian Peninsula, amassing immense wealth. Abu Jahl grew up in luxury, receiving the finest education of his time. He learned to read and write, excelling in poetry and public speaking. His intelligence, eloquence, and charisma made him a dominant figure in Meccan society. He played an active role in resolving disputes and shaping Mecca's political landscape. For Abu Jahl, family honor and tribal reputation were of the utmost importance. As a staunch defender of idol worship, he believed that the religious and social structures of Mecca had to be preserved. The idols in the Kaaba were not just symbols of worship, they were a source of Mecca's economic power. Pilgrims from across Arabia came to Mecca, boosting trade and wealth. For Abu Jahl, any disruption to this system was unacceptable. He saw it as his duty to protect the Kaaba and the status quo. Through Abu Jahl's hatred for Islam, in 610 CE, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ received the first revelation in the cave of Hira. He began calling people to Islam, the belief in one Allah, the rejection of idol worship, and the principles of social justice. The leaders of Mecca, including Abu Jahl, were deeply disturbed. He saw Islam as a threat to his power, family honor, and the tribal system. At first, Abu Jahl dismissed the Prophet's message, but as Islam spread, particularly among youth, slaves, and women, his concern turned into hostility. He became the mastermind of oppression against Muslims. He devised strategies to isolate Muslims, impose economic hardships, and physically torture them. You're the first martyrs of Islam. Among the first victims of Abu Jahl's brutality were Sumayya bint Khayyat and Yasir ibn Amir, the first martyrs of Islam. This family embraced Islam early, but Abu Jahl subjected them to horrific torture. Sumayya refused to renounce her faith, which enraged Abu Jahl. In his fury, he martyred her with his spear, making her the first woman to die for Islam. Yasir was also killed under severe torture. Their unwavering faith became an inspiration for all Muslims. The torture of Bilal ibn Rabah. Another victim of Abu Jahl's cruelty was Bilal al-Habashi, Bilal ibn Rabah, an Abyssinian slave who had accepted Islam. Bilal's master, under Abu Jahl's orders, tortured him mercilessly. He was laid on burning sand, heavy stones placed on his chest, and left without food or water. Yet through all the suffering, Bilal's lips only uttered, Ahad, Ahad, Allah is one, Allah is one. His resilience became legendary. Later, Hazrat Abu Bakr, R.A., purchased Bilal's freedom, and he became one of Islam's greatest figures. Attacking the Prophet, ﷺ. Abu Jahl didn't stop at persecuting Muslims. He personally humiliated and attacked the Prophet himself. One day, while the Prophet, ﷺ, was praying near the Kaaba, Abu Jahl and his men threw a camel's stomach on his back to disgrace him. Hazrat Fatima, R.A., the Prophet's young daughter, rushed to remove the filth, weeping for her father. But the Prophet remained patient, turning only to Allah in prayer. Abu Jahl also mocked and insulted the Prophet, calling him a magician, poet, and madman to turn people away from Islam. But his plan backfired. The more he slandered the Prophet, the more people embraced Islam. The boycott and Abu Jahl's stubbornness. Determined to crush Islam, Abu Jahl and the Quraysh leaders imposed a 3-year boycott on the Prophet's family and followers. Muslims were banished to a valley where they suffered starvation and extreme hardship. The cries of hungry children filled the air, and some Muslims were forced to eat leaves to survive. Yet despite this cruelty, they did not give up their faith. Eventually, some Meccans felt guilty and tore up the boycott agreement, ending the suffering. The Battle of Badr and Abu Jahl's final moments. In 624 CE, Abu Jahl led the Quraysh army to fight the Muslims at the Battle of Badr. He was confident of victory, but Allah had other plans. Despite their smaller numbers, the Muslims, with their faith and strategy, defeated the Quraysh. Abu Jahl was severely wounded. Lying on the battlefield, he was found by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, R.A., a former shepherd whom Abu Jahl once mocked. Ibn Mas'ud placed his foot on Abu Jahl's neck and asked, "Abu Jahl, where is your arrogance now?" Even in his dying moments, Abu Jahl's pride did not waver. His last words were, "Who is greater than me? My only regret is that my killer is someone as lowly as you." With that, Abu Jahl, the pharaoh of this ummah, breathed his last. His death was a massive victory for Islam. Here's the legacy of Abu Jahl. Though Abu Jahl spent his life opposing Islam, ironically, his own son Ikrimah, R.A., later accepted Islam and became a devoted Muslim, even sacrificing his life in the Battle of Yarmouk. Abu Jahl's story serves as a warning. Arrogance and pride can blind a person to the truth and lead to destruction. His real name was Amr ibn Hisham, but history remembers him by the name Muslims gave him, Abu Jahl, the father of ignorance.